All right. So check this out, right? So I was like thinking about how like if you go into like Greek philosophy, you have God, the king, and the man, and if you go into Egyptian mythology, it's similar, right? So I'm like, okay, so God didn't want kings, right? Because every individual was supposed to have, a crown. Because if you look at um, in the Hebrew culture, um, there was a Levite stationed everywhere, right? But God didn't really have a kingship per se, right? So um, the Israelites were like, man, we want a king. You know what I'm saying? And God was like, well, I mean, if you want one, I'll give you one, right? So you can have a king, and you had Saul, and then you had David, and you had Solomon, and then split from there. But I was like, what was before the king? And I was trying to figure it out. And it was like, you had the priest, you had the man. And I was like, oh shit, it was the judge. You had the judge. So the king is just I guess, a more centralized version the of the king. I mean, of the judge, right? So it's an extension, right? And so I'm like, okay, so this is what you have: the God, the king, and the man, right? Like, but you really have to understand that you're all three at the same time. Your office is your office, right? It's what you're most, um, I don't know. It's the either the work or the energy you're in, dominantly at the time, right? So like, you can be a king, but you're also a man. You go to work, you're the king. You know what I'm saying? If you're a priest, you're also a man, right? But you're also a king of your kingdom. You feel me? So no matter what, they're all the same thing. You should be, or you should see yourself as all three at any given moment, right? And so then I was like, okay, so you have king and judge. So what do you have? You have God. A priest is an extension of the God. And then what do these do, right? So you have God, priest. What does it give way to? The law. You have the king, judge. What does it give way to? Decision, right? Then you have man. And I was like, oh, okay, a man becomes a father. And what happens? And for some reason, I just did son. And I can't remember exactly why I put son right there. But it came to me later on why I did that. And so I was like, okay, but if we're healing the divine feminine energy, right? This is biblical up here. This is revelation, right? So you have goddess, queen, woman. This is, the same, going along the same context. You have priestess, you have judge, because there was a female judge in the Bible as well. And then you have mother. And then you have law, because a mother, again, let me clarify, like a father is an extension of a man, right? And a mother is an extension of a woman, right? So you have law, again, same context. I just switched it up and put verdict. And so you have woman, mother, moon, right? And I think why I did that was because of like the energies they put out, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like you can masculines tend to have a more egocentric expression, right? And feminines tend to have a more emotional and internal expression. So I put moon. And when I was, it was on another sheet of paper, but when I was drawing it, I tried to like, okay, what if I put these two together, right? And it kind of, I think I inverted something by accident, but what it ended up doing was it kind of depicted like a child crowning. So the man and the woman, the roles, when they eclipse, when they come together, it births the new earth. And that's the role. You're essentially trying to birth the new earth. And so right here, put in the it's just like the aspect of like, so you're coming from singularity, right? But you have singularity and ego, and then you have singularity and essence, right? And so I was like, this would be like the divine aspect male of God, and this would be the divine aspect of female of God. And what essentially happened was, I feel as though they just divided each other and gave each other a portion of themselves. And so this is how you have this would essentially just be male expression, and this would be female expression. It would just be an inversion of how the energies work or whatever. And then I was like, let me add on to this, right? And so I was like, let me recreate the grand order of Melchizedek. And so this is what you got here. And I was like, all right. So God opened up this new pathway for me, and I'm trying to figure everything out. But I'm a Levite. That's what he told me. I'm a Levite, right? So I'm like, okay, if I'm making my own order, I'm gonna be the high priest. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like having biblical knowledge, right? And then I was like, if I had a partner, I want them to be the high priestess, right? So I got open slot. But the Melchizedekian order, I was thinking back about how priesthoods were done. And Abraham was a sin priest, which sin is Babylonian for moon, right? He was a moon priest. And there were multiple priests, and how God did it for Israel. See, Israel, originally, the priests weren't supposed to just be Levites. That position came to them. Originally, it was supposed to be the firstborn, right? And because of the way sin happened, this priesthood was male dominant, and everything else had to be reconciled later down the line, right? So now that we're reconciling both energies, I'm like, okay, so you have a high priest, high priestesses, right? Melchizedek. What was the order of Melchizedek? Well, Abraham was a priest. He had colleagues on the same level. The reason why he was chosen, because he didn't take part in Tower of Babel. So he was chosen, his line, and through that, the priesthood was given to the Levites. So if I was to understand everything and everything is getting reconciled, yes, I'm a root for my own people, the Levites being priests and shit. But at the same time, I'm giving back recognition of other priest orders, right? Like, now that everything is cool, or we're going that direction at least, let me give them a section of priestly duties, right? So I divided it. And so we have the Levite. I was like, all right, Shemesh, son. And then Yarach. And then that's Laddite, Levite. Now, Laddite means I know. Levite means to cling, right? So Levites clung to God, the Father. So in this order, I would have two individuals, one that would cling to the teachings and focus on God the Father, biblical wisdom and the relationship with the Most High. And then on the other side, to give a balanced, like, perspective, I would have a Laddite. And that would just be someone who knows esoteric knowledge. And their teachings and focus on goddess, universe, esoteric insight, and cultivating / nurturing the universe within. And then I was like, okay, so what if we have a Levite that is more so on the knowledge side? I know, right? I just call him a Levi Laddite. And then in the priesthood, in the Levite priesthood, if a person wanted to hold priestly duties but wasn't a Levite, they would take an oath for a certain amount of time. They would abstain for drinking for a little bit. They wouldn't cut their hair for a time. These are just it wasn't forever. It was just a time of purification, right? And then they could become a Nazarite, or they would take a Nazarene vow. So I was like, okay, so if somebody who isn't a Levite wants to teach on this side, and either way, there's going to be some, you know what I'm saying, some give and take. Like this one, I would want to know about this, and this one I would want to know about that. It's just that this is their predominant focus, and they give perspectives based on whatever, right? And then that's just how it would go. So you could be a Nazarite, and you could work on the Shemesh side, which is the sun, and then you could work on the deeper knowledges of universal practices and stuff. And so it would be like eclipse teams. You know what I'm saying? I just call it eclipse teams. And so their function, right, I would have high Levites and Luddites for rulers and businesses. I would have master Levites and Luddites for organizations and communities. And then I would have wise Levites and Luddites, and this is more for social and people guidance, right? And just the goal, you know what I'm saying, mission statement, to deem, guide, and if so necessary, rightfully judge as to place the divine and holy crowns upon the heads of those in glory. That's the goal. Like, these two are supposed to guide and give insight in a dual partnership way to a specific individual, you know, ruler, business, organization, community, or set of people. And what that does is it gives the person the crown to make the final decision with righteous guidance and wisdom. And in that, you have the three eyes of perspective. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Each one has the crown. Each one is not unfamiliar with the workings of the other, right? But it's up to the individual. Like these two, sun and moon, they're giving their perspective to this person, and this person is supposed to. It's revelation, righteous revelation, unto whatever path they go forth and God deems for them. You know what I'm saying? So they can go ahead and co-create. So they can feel confident in their decisions. It's just guidance. That's all it is. They wear their own crown. And these two also wear crowns. You see what I'm saying? And birth that new earth at each level. And so, boom, you have the new order of the Melchizedekian eclipses. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I think that's dope. I think that's fair. You feel me? I think that's the shit. So, yeah. That's it for real. Go.